Playing Superhot VR is like if your stand was the world but with an extra chromosome. I'll be honest, I didn't really plan on making a full-length review for this game, but a certain graph made me change my mind a little bit. I also thought I should do a little bit better with my video besides just saying, ooh, I like the game. So I'm going to break each game I do in the future, including this one, into 6 categories so you can understand my reason for my final rating. We'll be looking at gameplay, visuals, music, story, replayability, and price. While Superhot VR is not great compared to modern VR games, the fact that it was released in 2017, just a year after consumer VR headsets were released, it does a pretty good job allowing you to interact with objects. You can't move except your physical body, and what you can interact with is limited, but it's still a pretty good experience. Superhot has a rather simple yet quite clever style of combat. Time only moves when you do, including bullets, thrown objects, and enemies. While I can't say I've played the PC version of the game, this mechanic feels like it was built and thrives in VR. Your ability to move freely, physically crouch to a perfect height, and actually have to time and follow through on throwing objects make it a blast. The only problem is if you are in confined space, you're gonna have a bad time. Superhot has a simple gameplay loop. Kill everything in the area and don't get hit. Do this a couple times and you get a checkpoint. Simple as that. Rolling around on the floor is a valid strategy and you should do it always. My biggest complaint is the throwing mechanic. It seems really jank. I won't lie, it could be a skill issue. It's very, very possible it's a skill issue, but I think it's just years old VR physics. But again, for a VR game from 2017, it's pretty damn good. Superhot's design is simplistic. The objects, enemies, and guns are low poly, and there are only 3 colors in the game: black for you and interactable objects, red for the red guys, and white for pretty much everything else. You could argue it'd be nice for the game to have a more advanced look, but the simplicity is kind of nice, especially in a modern world where everything has the highest quality graphics, so having something low poly kind of stands out nowadays. And this is especially nice when you're trying to focus on dodging 12 bullets at once instead of the environment around you. Not to say no work is put in, there's a clear attention to detail, but everything's minimalist. Not much more to say than that. There isn't. At least what I could find. When I started writing the script, I thought back to my original playthroughs of the game, and I thought, I can't remember any soundtracks. And I'm like, oh, maybe it just wasn't that memorable. And I looked up the soundtrack, and it seems to just not exist. Only a short soundtrack for Mind Control Delete. This is thoroughly disappointing, and most games that are near and dear to my heart are known for having great soundtracks, so having nothing at all is kind of rough. Editor's note, I did actually discover that there is one music track in the entire game. It is in the Christmas Endless level, and it plays Act 2 Candy Cane from the Nutcracker play. So that's cool, I guess. The story of this game is kinda hard to figure out. There's an obvious bit about you being part of the machine when you put a chip in your head, but very important scenes that were lore related were removed from the game due to them being triggering, and it made the story a bit hard to understand for people who were just kind of playing it. For those of you who don't know, Superhot VR had a few scenes that involved just shooting yourself and throwing yourself off a building. There was originally an option to skip these scenes, but the developers opted to completely remove it. This made a lot of people upset since they paid for something and then part of what they paid for was taken away from them without their consent. So the game got a lot of negative reviews because of this. I haven't actually played the game when these scenes were still in it, and I haven't played the original game that does a lot more expanding on the story. I believe the point is that you destroy your body to make your brain become hardware for the game to run on, which is a virus. I am terribly sorry if this is wrong. I'll have a better understanding of stories in the future, but most of this is my loose recollections of a game theory video I watched back when Superhot VR came out. If you want to experience it yourself, there are quite a few guides on how to revert to the old version with the original content. Ultimately, the VR version of the game places little importance on the story. The game itself is not really that replayable. The only reason to play the base game again is to collect a few secret floppy disks, and there are quite a few special modes that will take you quite a bit of time to do though. Starting off simple, there is just a mode where each gun has 1 bullet. Then you will have 3 different speedrun modes, one for real time, one for in-game time, and one beating the whole game in 10 minutes. There is a beat the game where you can't die, headshots only, no guns. As of recording this, I've completed none of these and have been chipping away at headshots only and harder, mostly because I suck balls at the game. And also my Quest 2 likes to not work half the time, so I just give up playing VR and play something else. However, once you beat a challenge, that's kind of it. Like, sure, there's an endless mode, but it isn't all that fun. And I imagine it will be kind of a joke if you're good enough to complete all the other challenges. $25 is a little steep for how much game you're getting. You could easily beat the game in less than 5 hours, and the bonus will only throw in 10 more hours at most. My usual rule is that a good game should be able to get you an hour of enjoyment for every dollar you spend, and you are not getting 25 hours out of this game. It's good, but like, get it when it's on sale. I think my original rating of 7 out of 10 is pretty fair. The game is cool, no doubt about that. The concept is unique, fun, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. However, the butchering of the story and how short the game is for how much it cost, and the lack of a soundtrack make it pretty good, just not fantastic. Tell me in the comments what game you'd want me to do next, or join my Discord to see a list of games that I'm more willing to do in the future. Or don't, I'm not your mother.